I didn't make any income for the first 3.5 months. Don't get don't get nervous. Oh my God, what am I doing this for? I want to share something with you. I'm about on the verge of hitting $200,000 in less than 13 months.
Fortunately, we live in a world where I have to share this. So I need each and every one of you to screenshot this earnings disclaimer because this information.
Get ready. Hey guys, my name is Tim, and I am a dad of 5 kids, and I live out here in California. And I was in the corporate world. My story is probably very different than a lot of people. I literally come from the corporate world. I spent 25 years there, and I was never really home. The best way to describe it when I say I was never home, I always had a cell phone. I was on a laptop. They came into my office after 25 years, and they sat me down and said my role had been eliminated. I don't know about you, but you ever lost a career that you really just you did enjoy it, but there was a lot of things that you didn't like about it, but you showed up anyway and did it because as we're raised, right? We're kids. I had 5 brothers and sisters. Sit down, shut up, and listen as we were raised, right? You do exactly what you're told, not as I do, right? And then we get good grades, go to school, do all that, settle down, marry, have a family, get a home, and have a career, and then retire. Who put in the comments one if you've ever heard that story before? Because that's how I lived, that's how I was raised, right? And I did all that. And I never thought my wildest dreams where I was in my career, never thought in my wildest dreams I would have lost my career because I was an impactful player in that company, massively impactful for the decisions and the direction where that company went. And it's a company that y'all well know, just so you're clear. Um, but here I am. I said, I got laid off. And then I said, I went home for 5, 6 months and kind of decompressed. The elephant came off my shoulders. I got to date my wife again. I actually got to know my kids again. It's really funny if you ever lose it and you kind of like decompress from that role. You're like, holy crap, you never realized the weight. That was the one thing. I never realized the weight, the stress, the pressure, how I showed up. I showed up ready. I always say the corporate armor that we put on before we go to work so we don't have to show a smile. We laugh at people that we wouldn't laugh at normally. We would just say, yes, this is what I need to do. But here's what I realized. After being home, I said I never wanted to go back. I actually flew 4 different in other states from California for interviews to other companies. And the one thing I get on that plane and get ready to come home, and I go, and these were good companies. I would come home and I go, I just can't do this again. I just can't. I got home. I started to see some things around the home. And I will say something for you. A lot of you guys that are dads out there, you need to be home with your kids. They need you as they need as much as your moms. Their relationships and the things that I talk about nowadays, the gaming, the movies we watch. I'm telling you, this business is way more than just all the money you're going to hear. It is way more than the noise you just heard in my background. But we're at home. We stay at home dads here. Come on, this is the best. I hear a lot more than that normally, and I got to be in under my 5 minutes. But here's what I'm going to say to you: we're home. This is what it's about. Stay at home dads. Your kids need you. If there's anything I could ever tell you, you may not know it because that's not how you were raised. They need you more than you can ever possibly imagine. And I will just say this to you: I came across a video just from Michelle here that actually just said you could learn the skills how to make $300 a day. Well, I was at a point where I had started looking for an online business, and I'm like, there was 3 things that I was looking for in an online business. Number one, can I talk to somebody if I ever get stuck? Like, you know how it is. Like, okay, can I talk to somebody? I'm 55 years old at the time. I just needed to know what I could do. It's 56 actually. Can I get help if I need it? They said they had training. So I'm like, okay, they said all these things. Now it's like, okay, I'll do it. So I made a decision, believe it or not, in one night. We were in the hospital. My son had surgery, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, okay, showed my wife, I said, what are you thinking? I said, you know what? I'm going to. But literally, I made a decision on this business in one night, just so you know. Now, as I got into here, I'm going to give you 5 tips that I think are the most important things. And my story, even before the tips I give you, I want you to share something with you. I didn't make any income for the first 3.5 months. Don't get don't get nervous. Oh my God, what am I doing this for? I want to share something with you. I'm about on the verge of hitting $200,000 in less than 13 months. And I made no income for 3.5 months. The key behind that story, though, is these 5 tips. See, one day, and I own that, though. I own that because, see, that moment, the reason I didn't make any income, I never talked to my mentor. I never said a word to her. I, believe it or not, I'm an introvert, a very loud one, but I'm an introvert. And here's the thing about that is I never asked her a question. That's why I said, that's why I tell you, I own that, right? So we own the decisions we make, we own where we're at. And I understood that. So the day I asked, it was July 27th. It's the day that'll always go down in history for me, is we were on a Zoom call. And here's the thing, I did every training, everything. I showed up every day, every training. And then all of a sudden we had questions back and forth. 4 questions later, 3 days later, I started making daily pay 11 days straight. And then in 14 days, I made my first $4,050. Why do I tell you that? Is because there are 5 things I believe you need to be to have a successful online business. Number one, you have to be coachable. When I tell you sit down, shut up, and listen, or you won't get hurt, that was what our parents said to us when we're running around like crazy and your kids are driving your parents nuts. Well, we were part of that. Sit down, shut up, listen. Trust me when I tell you, I say that out of love and kindness. Number two, this is really important because you have to be consistent every day. You're going to hear something about the common denominator about all these people that are actually doing the 6 figures. They're very consistent. There's not a problem that gets in the way where they don't show up for the people, because you're not doing this business for yourself. You're doing it for other people just like you, trying to get out of whatever or add on to whatever better life you want to have. Be clear on that. So number three, which I think is the most important tip I could ever give anybody, the greatest tip I can possibly give you, is to be authentic. I am me. There's only one unique person about me. I tell people my golfing stories. I tell people my struggles. I'm okay with that because I am human. I am like anybody else. I just did and made better, different choices. Not necessarily better, different choices. I chose to show up. I chose to be coachable because I am not giving anybody back my time. To think of one thing, I gave 25 years of my life to someone else, and now they can come into your office and go, we don't need you anymore. Thank you for your time, and thank you. Have a good day. But number four, so I said coachable. Number one, being consistent with the right message. 3, be yourself. It is so cool. There's something refreshing about not having to put a costume on, put armor on, any of that, and just be yourself, talking about, hey, because I realize not everybody's going to see what I see. They're not going to purchase. Not every person that comes on there is going to do it, but there's a lot of people that do. And I said, number 4 is have patience and grace. Because I knew for 3.5 months, I had patience and I had grace on myself. And number 5, we're going to talk about heavily is your mindset. I am not the person that started on March 8th of 2023. I am not the same person that I am today. So if there's anything, I will leave it on this final note. You're at a place where there's a bunch of people. I did a mentoring call for my community. I was on there for 4.5 hours answering questions, because the leadership and the example that Michelle's given us, we're here for you to be successful. It's just a choice. Whether you do it or you don't, it's your choice. It's going to be okay. But there are people out here on this call today that are sick and tired of being sick and tired of where they're at. I just want you to know there's people like myself, Michelle, and you're going to meet a bunch of other people that are willing to do a training and give of their time so you're successful. We know this works. See, we don't have a doubt. We have no problem. We're here for you. We will guide you along your way, and just get in here as fast as you can, because I'm telling you, it is absolutely life-changing. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, the change.